Good morning, Rabbi Sai. We're holding today in Chulin Daf Memhei, getting into the trenches of Perak Elu Trefers. So we'll start that. Let's go straight into it. Says the Gemara, we're Daf Memhei Mudaf in the first line. Homa Avyudo Marav Nikvo Kenafo Mitztarfin Lerubo. So we're talking about the Kone, the Gargeris, talking about the windpipe, which in order for it to be treifel, it needs to be cut berubo. And what happens if it doesn't have a cut berubo, but many small holes into the kane? So if you can join the holes together to be roiv, then it makes it into treifel. Meisi Yirmiyahu asks Yirmiyahu, says ubagul goyle sheyesh bo nekev echod oroich. If it has one big hole, but the hole is not round, it is long, and it's in the gulgoilas. It says that what is the chisar that needs to be in the gulgoilas, meaning in the skull, has to be kimaloi magdeach. Magdeach means like a round hole the size of what doctors do in order to penetrate into the moyach. So the round hole, if, as it says over there, if there is a long hole, even though there's many small holes in it, in other words, you could come and join them together. Because you're looking for the shear of Meloi Magdeach, right, that size, so it's tied to that. So you need to get to the shear of a Yisor. So he's saying, because we're going to learn, come on, that the shear of that we have when you have a psuko, because when we're talking about in the kane, there's a cut, but chisar means there's a piece missing. What is the piece that's missing by kane, which is a problem? We're talking a piece the size of a Yisor. So what do you see? It should be over here that size. So if you're saying that you don't go just based on your, you have to have the size of Acer. So why are you just telling me as in the kudo that it goes based on the roiv, meaning you have the majority of the size of the length or the circumference of the kane? It has to be the size of Acer. Says the Gemara, so I'm going to tell you exactly the point. This is exactly the nekuda. When you have a chisorin, meaning you're actually missing a piece of the kane, then you're right. The size they need to get to is the isur. But if you're not missing a piece, it's just a cut. So you're joining the cut without missing a piece. It's just like there was, as if there was a knife that went through the kane or any other thing that caused it. Then what it does is mitzarif the rubo. You only have to get to the roif. Says the Gemara, so that's what it is. If there was a piece that's missing out, so then it's mitzvah to the size of a Yisr. So if you have a piece missing, ritzua, like as if like a belt. What happens if there's many little holes like an apple, right? So you're saying is that basically we're going back to more before we did not speak out like more just brought as a question. More now is coming and addressing when you have things that are missing. If it's like an apple, like a sifter, so we basically conclude what we said before. And when you have a chisor and you're joining the size of Acer, if you have a cut, so then you join together to be a roof. What happens when we talk about the size by oif? What shear do you need? It's not the size of Acer, it's much smaller. What you do is you take the area which has holes in it and you fold it into the opening of the kane. So the kane is a tube. Now you have in the tube, you have a piece which has holes in it. So you as if cut that piece a little bit and fold it. and fold it into the opening of the kone. Now what happens? If it covers the majority of the kone, treifel. If you don't have treifel, so we have a solution, quote unquote, to what we're looking for. Does it get to that or not? How are you going to remember that we're looking like a sifter? Nafio means that by a sifter, you cover the sifter, as Rashi brings over here. Yerir is navasus. You put some tail of horse on the circle. So here I have the circle of the kone and I put it into it. It says more nifcheto kedelis. Nifcheto kedelis means there's a cut, but it wasn't completely removed. It's still attached. So because it's still attached, let's see, here's the kone, and you have in one of the walls of the kone, you have a little piece which is cut, but it's not completely cut. It's still connected on one side. So like a door. So here the isor needs to go into its width. It's not so clear. What does it mean? But the simple idea is going to be able to go in and out. So it's not going to be the size of isor. It has to be able to go in and out. And it was a little larger because it's connected. Nizdeko, meaning it cracked. What does it mean cracked? Meaning you have a hole going throughout. There's a crack going from the top and the bottom of the kone. So you take a kone and you have a crack throughout it. So as long as it's holding the two sides. Right now we said chulio. Chulio means a ring. Someone's going to ask about it. If you have a ring on top and a ring on bottom, it's good enough. Why? So as we'll see, because the kone usually stretches out. If I have a hole going through the length of the kone, it stretches out. It's going to close it up. So it has more, as long as it has what's to hold on in, the animal is not treiful. So as the Gemara says, so if you have a ring on top and a ring on the bottom, it's kosher. Why I don't need a full ring. Even if you have a little piece of the kone in the top and a piece of the bottom, it's kosher. They told because the one who said so Rav said the idea of Julio. Came Rabbi Yochanan and said, no, it's not Julio, it's even something small. And they told him in name of Rabbi so that's what he said, something small. He said our friends from Bavel know how to explain it. The entire neck is kosher l'shchito. Tabasa means the top of the kone that we saw before, because it's made of rings and rings. You go from the top ring, and this is like Mandava that says you have to do it within the ring and not above it. As Rashi points out, we saw earlier another shita that says you can do even above the top ring. Until you go into the lungs. What does it mean to the lungs? So I don't have the picture book over here, but the idea is that the lungs are made from different kanafim, it's called. Kanfi rail is the wings of the rail. So different parts of the rail, there's 5 of them. You have 2 on top and 2 on the bottom, and then another one in the middle. So when we're saying that you could cut the kone until it reaches the lungs, until it reaches the 2 top parts of the lungs, not the bottom. So why you say tachtoino? So he says, meaning the bottom one, which is the top. When you take the animal and you hang, when you check the animal, you hold it up from bottom to top. You hold it up from the legs. So his face is facing back to the bottom. So then the 2 rayas, the bottom ones are the top. It means the first one the vegetable reaches. The kone reaches. You go with the kone, the windpipe, up till you reach the raya, and the first 2 wings of the raya, that's because of the bottom one, because now the animal is facing from top to bottom, but really it's the first ones you're reaching. Shanir Mer, what's the simon? Kol shepushetet savoro v'royo. As long as the animal can move its neck and graze, so that's the part of the kone that you could cut. Without having her need to go and stretch too much. So that reaches the beginning of the lung. What happens if she did force herself and then meaning she stretched, and then they did the shechita, take her. We're not sure. You're not allowed to shech into the rail, but if she's this moment stretching herself, maybe she could. Something came out from Yochanan and Shlokish learning together. Onas b'simonim v'shochat psula. If he forces, right, as we said before, and he forces it to get down to a place where you don't reach, then it's psula. Nika v'kone lemata min hachazeh, nido in kireh. If the kone is cut below the chazeh, meaning in a place which is not royal l'shchita, as Rashi says, so then you don't treat it anymore like the kone, like the windpipe, even though it's continuing to be the windpipe. But once it reached into the lungs, it's out of the din of the lungs, and the din is a kareo, and even a small neck of a small hole is already treifo. You don't have to get to the roif. This is referring to, because we're mentioning now the idea of the lung. We're saying, what is the breast that's given to Kohanim? Because they give the chazah to the Kohanim. So what is it? Chazah v'shoik they give to Kohanim in the korban. The piece that is looking on the ground. So it's the fat that faces the ground. Meaning when the animal is walking, it faces the ground. That's over lamalo the keres. Again, lamalo here is when the animal is being hanged. So how you look at it? So you go the bottom until you reach the neck, and the top until you reach the stomach. So you take two ribs on the two sides of this fat, you give it together with the kohanim. Machlokes and Rishonim exactly where are these ribs that you're giving to kohanim, where the two pieces that connect to it. But that's what you give. So that's the idea of what's given to the kohanim. So if you have there's a hole in the pocket that holds the brain. Which means we're talking about here, you have basically two pockets. You have the top one, which is called kramilo, and you have the bottom one, which is called the tato. So when you have the hole in the top one, even though it didn't reach the bottom, for hamilo, no, I didn't give the tato. It needs to reach the bottom one, the hole, in order for it to be a treif. If you want to know what we're talking about, it's like the bag where the moyach is. That is the inner one that we're talking about, where the brain is. If you want to know what it is, look at the beitzim. So why are we talking about the beitzim? Because it's very hard to recognize it in the brain. But the beitzim have a similar idea. They have an outer bag and you have an inner bag where the beitzim are standing. So they're trying not to figure out what is considered to be the brain. Gdeiro means a bowl. So as long as the brain has the shape of a bowl, it's in a bowl, it's like sitting on a round thing, and it's part of the brain. It started then, because what happens to the brain? It's something round, and then it starts narrowing, and then it reaches the spine. So look at the Rashi. Rashi says, take out a gun of the bowl, then it goes into a string. The comes from the moyach. So you have to see the moyach connecting. It turns from a round part into a string, so into a small or narrow line. So as long as in the round, that's called the moyach. Starts with nimshach. Neither kechut hashedra is part of the shedra. It's not part of the moyach. It's not a moyach anymore. Where exactly is the place where it is? Only so what Hartman did the first sheminei of Shubal Levi. Kimin shnei with the base poilim. Poilim is glance. There's two round things you have to see in the pictures. I should have brought it over here. The Mesivta has a beautiful picture book with exactly the design. You don't have it over here, but there is two poilim. Maybe we'll bring it for next year. There's two round things that you have in the corner of that they're there on the entrance to the bowl. Whatever is inside towards there is considered to be the moyach. Outside is not. I don't know exactly how to describe, how to define the poilim themselves. It makes sense that it's part of the moyach. There it says even by Yoif they found these two poilim and you have the same sign of what is the brain by a bird, similarly to what you have by an animal. So when you have the base chalol, you have a hole in the heart going to the inner chalol, to the inside. What are we talking about? There's many small rooms, call it, in the heart, and there's the main one inside. Do you have to go to the main one, or any one of the holes is good enough? What's the question? We speak about the rayo. It says it has to go also. There is rooms over there. It says like different knafai, different wings, and you have to go to base of Siphonis, which is the middle. It's the big Siphon. So the same thing by Ray, you have to go to the main place, also by the heart. Also the base of Symphonos Ktani. It says base of Symphonos. What is base of Symphonos? All the Symphonos are involved. Where all of them come together. Symphonos, Beit Symphonos is the middle of the Symphonos. Here I mean just to get to the hollow place. The hollow place, it could be the big room, it could be the small room. Says the more now, Koneh Halev, which we'll see in a moment, the more is going to speak what it means. What is it? Rav Amash. I mean, Koneh Halev, what makes it treifel? Rav Amash, even a small hole. Shul Al has to be to the roof. How you Koneh Halev? What is Koneh Halev? Omarav Yitzchok Omarav Chelev Shel Gabei Tfanos. Meaning, you have some fat that goes on the tfanos, on the ribs of the ray. Says the Gemara, tfanos sakadaitach. Meaning, we're talking about the heart over here. El shagabei doifnei reyo. Meaning, there is some area in the ray called the rugis reyo, and it's connected to the heart. So that part is connected to the heart, that's what we're talking about. There's three konim, there's three pipes. After the windpipe goes into the rayo, into the chest, to the breast, it splits into three. Chad partially, but one section goes into the heart. Chad perish the rayo, the other one goes into the lung.